All right. Lastly, we all watched a movie together, which was nice. The movie was
Yeah.
Onward
Pixar
by
good.
Pixar.
Yeah.
Pixar
Uh,
good.
the story of Onward basically is that oh god, what was Chris Pratt's character's name? Uh
Uh,
Lyle.
Boofy.
Barley.
Marley.
Dreaming.
Harley and me.
Boofy.
Yeah. So Ian and Barley, on Ian's 16th birthday, receive a gift from their dead father, that basically a magic staff, and which gives them the spell to resurrect them for a day, so they can talk to him as like adults, basically. Um, Unfortunately, something goes wrong, and they have to go on this quest to figure out a way to complete the spell. It's a nice little movie about brotherly love, relationships, and like what it means to be a father figure in someone's life. I think this movie has some good like touching moments in it. It has some terrible world building elements, but some really fun action sequences.
We can open with that because in the first scene, they're like, magic was awesome and everyone knew how to do it, but it was hard to wield. So
Here's your
instead, we moved.
30-second history lesson.
Yeah. So instead, we moved on to industrialization, and I'm like, bitch. And later in the movie, they turn a Cheeto into a giant Cheeto. There's no way that magic would stop being used if you can make food bigger. That solves so many problems on Earth.
Yeah.
At some point during the movie, I was like, the initial setup for the movie is that, oh, industrialization was better than magic, so we got rid of magic. And then as the movie goes on, the characters are realizing, like, wait, magic's really fucking useful. Why did we ever stop using this?
Yeah.
It's really absurd because, like Willer said, like they make a Cheeto bigger. They can levitate. They make bridges like that they can walk on. Like they do a bunch of like
they revive people.
Yeah, you can bring someone back from the dead.
I literally told Brock, it's like if you could bring someone back for a murder trial, imagine how crazy that would be.
Yeah.
Like,
imagine if Phoenix Wright was out right now on your Nintendo Switch.
So like that's a big kind of disconnect. I feel you're just like this. Just I don't see why you would stop using magic ever. I could understand.
But that aside,
yeah.
Though the movie does have like a theme of going back to your magical roots a little bit. Not the whole society, but key characters in it go back to their natural magical roots. Where it's like, no shit, that's not a journey. Like you should have never left.
Yeah,
It's got a little Brother Bear vibe to it.
Now, the other main theme is like Joe was saying, the brotherhood and parental figures.
I really appreciated it. I thought it was really refreshing. Obviously, there are other movies and stories that do this kind of thing with the relationship between the two brothers, but I just really liked it here, and you don't see it every day, so I really loved it.
I can relate to this movie a lot. Having a brother that is partially and mostly your father figure for most of your life. My problem with the movie was that I disliked every character. There's not a character I liked.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that is harsh, and I was shocked at that. I don't like both of the brothers. The Manticore sucks. Those pixies suck. The
mom?
dad is weird. The mom's okay.
I liked Barley, but he was why I watched the movie. Like
Barley lost me. Go on, Bradley. I'll say.
I was gonna say I wasn't super into the main character. I like Barley, but one of my big complaints with the movie is, especially in the first half, I feel like the plot was moving a little way too fast, and by the time they actually start their quest, I still didn't know why I was supposed to like the main character or root for him.
Yeah, all they give you is that oh no, he's awkward and he hasn't found his place, but he's so extremely awkward and uninteresting where it's like why should I care? It seems like a personal problem at this point.
Some Wars where when you're introduced to this character, you kind of immediately feel empathy because he's thrown into this crazy situation of being around this big family, and you kind of see him having to struggle and recover. Like, okay, that's relatable. I can understand what it's like to kind of be thrown into this weird social situation. But Tom Holland's character Ian, he's just kind of a loser, and
he has nothing going.
Yeah, he has nothing going. He feels like he doesn't feel like there's any motivation for him to be that way, other than he didn't have a father. Like it just still wasn't enough to like kind of make him seem like that.
Yeah, the brother lost me when he shows up midway through, like very early on in the car, and he like stops Ian from getting his, like, he was asking people to hang out with him, and the brother's just like, "Yo, Ian, what's up, bro?" And it's like, you're so annoying. Like, you could just wait and let Ian do his thing. And it's like, oh, the brother's inconsiderate. He has to learn. It's like, I just don't care about him anymore. He's a little too like, bro, I'm a fuck up, bro. Yeah, but like not in an interesting way.
I don't think Barley's like that. Barley's very much like the dad that thinks he's cool but not really cool. You know, he's kind of very lame. That's the vibe I got off from that character. Not that he was obnoxious. It was just like, I'm trying to be really cool for him, and I'm trying to like, you know what, I think it's really cool and whatever, and he just doesn't get it.
And then the whole spell doesn't work. It's like, I could help, and then he just like jumps in the way. It's like, oh, Barley.
Yeah,
Tyler, you were gonna say something. I think I'm getting vibes. No? Okay, cool. Also, if magic is so hard to use, how come like the kid learns high-level spells within a day?
He learns what Barley described as the hardest spell in under 24 hours.
Yeah, the time span that they give for this movie is literally a day.
Yeah.
And he literally becomes the most powerful magician apparently in all time in like a day.
Yeah.
Maybe not all time, but he's definitely the fastest learning.
Yeah.
No, apparently he's like the only wizard now in existence.
What's
up with that? How come he can use magic? I might have missed the line.
There was just something like, you have to be born with the ability
Gotta have
to
a
do it.
gift.
Yeah.
And then the movie is like, oh, look, Ian found his place on the earth after he's the one magician in a world where it's like, magicians aren't like persecuted against, they're just not common these days. So it's like, oh, you get to be a special boy with no repercussions, and that's how you found your place on the planet.
Yeah, because here's the thing. You know, if it's a finding your place, you want it to be because of, you know, your character traits. And I will say, him doing this magic, there were moments where they explored how the magic is influencing him as a person. Like, whenever the mom meets the Manticore's like, oh, your son is fearless. And it's like, yeah, Barley. It's like, no, I was talking about the little one. So I enjoyed that moment. However, at the end of the movie, where we have finally reached the point where it's like, okay, the character has found his place. He has he feels accepted by his peers. The things his peers were saying to him didn't reflect his personality. Yeah. They weren't like, oh, you're so cool and confident now. It was, whoa, you used your cool magic to rebuild the school.
It's like Ian took steroids and came back throwing 40-yard bombs on the football field.
Yeah, they're just impressive magic.
The takeaway for any kid in this movie is if you're really special, people will like you.
Yeah.
So search for that special thing and ignore your brother, because that's not the ending part of the movie, not the brotherly love. It's that if you're special and you look for it, people will worship you.
So I think
he does hang out with him at the end.
Yeah, I think one change that would have made this movie better is that if the character was actually Max Goof. Because the movie, Max is pretty popular. People like him. He's not the most popular kid in school, but he has his group of friends. He's got a girl that likes him. Like he's doing well for himself. Yeah, he's doing well for himself in the high school setting.
Kind of an asshole to his dad.
But he's kind of an asshole to his dad.
Which in this could be the brother, sorry.
Just need to make Goofy movie again. That's all this movie needed to be.
That sounds more interesting.
Yeah. Here's the character. I can identify a little bit with Max because, like, you know, he has his friends, but you know, he wants more. Like, you know, maybe he has a crush on this girl, or he wants to be seen as cool, but he does have something going for him. The kid in this movie, I don't identify with him because he's just like a loser in every aspect, and I'm fucking cool. So,
well, here's the thing: like, no, even uncool kids have personalities. They have things. They have interests. Ian is so white bread.
Yeah, like you like even like the nerdiest people have the people that they like to hang out with. Like they
Mhm.
have their group. But
there's
D&D
kids
is
out there.
popular now.
Yeah, that's
Again,
true.
like they're like the only people who are isolated like he is are people in America who don't get the attention for like Asperger's, who are very like special and like can't like they have something mentally wrong with them.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
I think at this point, interests don't really isolate people anymore because, like,
yeah,
dirtiest shit, people will be like, "Oh yeah, I'm into that." But I feel like if you're isolated, it's more of like a
personal choice.
type-
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It would have been more interesting if there was something that socially made him an outcast. Like there was no reason why people didn't like him. It was just that he was.
Like if his dad was like the jester of the town and he feels ashamed about him, or
if there was something, and here's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there are kids out there, maybe even listeners. Who knows? All 100 of you out there. Maybe one of you is like super isolated and lonely. But you know what? Those kids have aspirations and dreams and personalities and interests still. And like there's just more to a human being than what we saw from Ian.
Yeah.
He's just a kid who wakes up and has breakfast with his family and wants to see his dad for no reason. Like I didn't even feel a strong motivation from seeing his
Never
dad
even
aside
knew
from
his
like
dad.
Yeah.
the motivation I got was like I didn't get to meet my dad, so I want to see what that's like.
Like another thing that would have been a good motivator is that if so another thing is Barley only knew his dad for like 2 years, I
Yeah.
think. Another thing would have been like if Barley like had all of these memories about his dad and like it was kind of overshadowed Ian and made Ian feel like he was missing out on something. That would have been another kind of like thing maybe.
Going back to the Max Goofy movie, which I haven't seen, but like say Ian was like a pretty popular kid, but like deep down inside he had a lot of insecurities about when it came to stuff about familial stuff. Like he didn't like people coming over. He didn't. He felt uncomfortable around dads and like people's houses when he went to hang out or something. Like he had this part missing about him that he tries really hard to cover up. And then this movie is about exploring that with him and his brother who had a warm relationship with his dad. And I think that there's so many different places they could have taken that, but they were just like, hey, here's a character where hopefully anyone can relate to in some way because he's so bland and it makes him unrelatable as a result. Now, with all this slamming, I will say that there was 2 really good parts of this movie that I should praise after we've been talking so much smack. I really like the ending, how Ian doesn't get to see his dad because he's out there being Naruto. And I very much like the car death scene. I have a very soft spot for vehicles meeting their ends.
Yeah. Bad luck with
I think
On
the
another
strongest
note-
part of the movie for me is definitely how like the conclusion of the whole father plot line and Ian making the decision he did. I like that.
I have 2 things.
Yeah.
One, y'all said in a much better way about the motivation being wrong for him being isolated than I did.
Yeah,
that was
maybe.
not
was not
conveyed
succinct.
properly on my part. But y'all said what I was trying to get.
There you
You're
go.
isolated. There's not something wrong with you. It's just
Yeah.
like we were looking for that motivation. Also, I'm not gonna say anything good about this movie because where the fuck did the cop cars come from?
Man!
Dude, fucking seriously.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did the cop cars come from?
It's like this area hasn't been built or anything. Suddenly there's like a whole squad of cop cars when the dad catches up.
Like
Stepdad.
it took the rest of our characters about 20 hours to get here, and then suddenly all these police officers from his town are also here.
There were so many weird plot contrivances, like, okay, the Manticore is suddenly going ham. Oh, the Pixies bumped into me. Time for this whole little Pixie sub-story so we can have a drive sequence.
Yeah. I will say, one thing I really liked about this movie was, like, it's quote-unquote rules for magic, where, like, every magic spell had kind of, like, a caveat to it, where, like, you had to focus on the item or else it's going to, like, misspell and shrink something, or, like, you can't fly when you're disguised. Or there was another one. Or the bridge. The bridge part I really liked too.
Ooh, that was a good scene. You're right.
One of my favorite scenes, and normally I wouldn't bring this up in a review. I'm only bringing it up because a lot of our listeners are people familiar with Wild Bow.
Glamour time.
There was one scene in this movie that is like, it is one of the arcs from Pact, where you have our character who has disguised themselves with magic to talk to police officers, and they are not allowed to lie, and the disguise is like falling apart while they're doing this, and they're like, fuck.
But it has none of the Pact goodness where the characters start thinking they're the cop, which is the best part of the whole thing.
I was having a lot of fun with that scene.
Yeah, that was pretty.
But I really like the bridge thing too, because I don't know. I think they did they did a really good job of tying in these arbitrary rules of the magic into the relationship between these two characters, because the police officer asks Ian a question about his brother, and because he can't lie, whether he tells the truth or not, Barley is going to know what Ian really thinks about him.
Yeah.
And that was really cool.
Which yeah.
I guess I will say a positive thing. I think probably my favorite actual character is Barley, because I think he's very well portrayed as someone who made a life choice at an age where they're very influential, and those choices became like very apparent.
They became his personality, basically.
They became his personality.
I'm gonna get into magic, and then he became that guy.
Yeah.
And if you've ever met somebody who's like a teenager and a really big history buff, I'm like, yeah, those things make sense. It's like, why are you tearing down this fountain in the middle of nowhere for no reason? It's a part of history. And it's like, it's small town too.
Yeah.
Like, the character makes sense to me.
That's a terrible thing, is that Barley as a character makes sense because he has motivations and he's believable. Like, oh, Barley likes magic and history. That's a relatable. He's obsessed with something. I get that.
Yeah.
Ian doesn't do anything.
Yeah. No, I might have not loved Barley, but he's clearly the better of the two main characters.
Yeah.
Tom Holland, man. What's with Pixar and big-nosed characters?
No.
That's just their art style.
That's Tom Holland's character design for anything animated.
Yeah.
Well, no, but that's also like Pixar has the Cloudy with Meatballs, Big Nose Man.
That's
Illumination, right?
I'm just saying that there's like this trend of big nose boys. I saw a picture that's like every character is like a white, brown hair, big nose boy.
Not as big as
some schnauzers out there.
That's actually Sony is Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Wow.
Really? Wow, I thought it was Illumination.
Man,
okay, but don't get me started on the Tumblr nose art style.
Yeah, Tumblr nose arts.
What?
We can end on a strong note, which is the dragon at the end looks awesome. Yeah. I really love that design for the.
That was a cool fucking dragon.
I love everything about that dragon. The fact that when it roars, it's the school bell ringing is super cool. That it takes the face off of the school and just
it like breaks the face to move its eyebrows. I like it. It shoots fire. It could have been a little more inspired, but it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously not the Lonely Dinosaur, that other Pixar movie you've never heard of.
Yeah, I've heard of how much it bombed.
God, that movie's awful.
I think the only good Pixar movies I have not seen are The Lonely Dinosaur.
The Good Dinosaur, not The Lonely Dinosaur.
And it's lonely now because nobody remembers it exists.
That's
probably was the second one.
The other one was Cars 2. I've seen Cars 3, which
pretty good, right? From what I
heard. I won't say it's my favorite Pixar movie, but I really fucking love Cars 3.
Damn, he's just embarrassed to admit it.
I have the controversial opinion that I really, really like Cars 1. I think Cars 1's really good, and people. Cars 2 is just awful. Don't.
Is that when they're spies?
Yep.
I only would have cared about Cars if it was a Kingdom Hearts world and we got Car Sora, so I don't care. We didn't get it, I don't care.
What is your favorite Pixar movie?
I think WALL-E has to be mine. WALL-E is fantastic.
WALL-E is so good.
Yeah.
I think like the one that I've had the strongest emotional reaction to is Inside Out. I like Inside Out is the hardest I've cried at a piece of media in my
I
life.
still need to watch that.
I cried that movie so fucking hard, even though it doesn't. There's plenty of other Pixar movies that I like the setting and I like the plot points better, but for some reason that movie fucking kills me.
Would you be willing to rewatch Inside Out, Bradley? Or is that too much? Is that maybe not?
Even having seen the movie about a dozen times, like every once in a while, I'll just be like, I think I'll rewatch Inside Out tonight, and I'm like, yep, it still has not dulled for me.
Is it the one scene that makes everyone really sad that gets you?
Huh?
Is it the one scene
Oh yes,
makes
you know the scene. You know which one it is.
Shoutouts to Toy Stories, all of them, but 3 has that scene with the furnace, which is far too cruel for this world.
I know. I could not believe what I was watching when that scene came up.
That scene is fucked.
God, I Pixar movies. Toy Story has a really soft spot in my heart for multiple reasons. I love Buzz Lightyear. Like I always wanted a Buzz Lightyear toy. I really like Up.
Oh, Up's so good.
Up is really
man.
good. Up is great because it's the story about someone like moving on and realizing there's so much more to life. It's basically like an anti-suicide note. Like, please don't give up. Like, there's so much more to do.
It's
just
interesting to have an old man protagonize.
It is.
It is a very unique movie.
The first 10 minutes of Up is like the biggest stab in the
Man,
heart.
compare that storytelling to the storytelling in the first 10 minutes of Onward, where it's just like, here's a text scroll of that doesn't make sense.
The opening of Up is some sublime
masterclass
movie.
Yeah. What about you, Tyler?
Ratatouille is my favorite.
Dude, I like Ratatouille, man.
Ratatouille.
I like how very small scale Ratatouille is.
Man, for some reason, I really don't like Ratatouille, and
A
everyone
lot of
likes
people
it.
don't. A lot of
Ratatouille's
people.
another big nose dude.
It's such
It
a
is.
big nosed little fuck, that kid.
It
But-
is, and you know, a lot of people like do feel that way. A lot of people are like, "Yeah, Ratatouille's so meh."
I've never met everyone I know loves it. The problem, it's just not entertaining. It's not funny. It's kind of interesting here and there. There's so much. There's like dead air. Like, I don't know. It's a movie that made me very awkward when I watched it.
I really don't like the opening of Ratatouille. I think the Ratatouille like beginning part is like really slow and it kind of makes me rolls my eyes. But once we get to the part where like he gets to Paris and he's the chef and we're doing all of this relationship between the rat and Remy, not between Remy and whatever, Luigi, is that what his name is?
Yeah, Luigi.
Little Chef.
No, Little Chef is the rat, is Remy.
Oh,
It's Linguini.
Linguini, thank you. I think that's interesting. That the non-battle manga style at the end with the cook-off for the guy at the food critic, I think is really fun and interesting. Like, I really enjoy that movie. I really like the ending to that movie too. I don't like its opening. I really like its ending.
I like Patton Oswalt. I like him as a voice actor. I think he's a great voice actor, and he has such a good character voice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like my attraction to it. Is like I like the dynamic isn't as much between Ratatouille and Linguini. Like obviously, hair pulling is very like that's the fantasy aspect of it. But other than that, it's the rat coming to struggle like to be a chef, and then he has like his imaginary Gusteau friend.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like that dynamic.
I really like the message at the end being that like the place that you think is the best place to end up that you think you'll end up being might not be the best place for you, but that doesn't mean you need to stop like doing your dreams.
Yeah.
That's something that's really wholesome and very realistic and like, oh, this restaurant got shut down, they made a new one and he's still a great chef. That, you know, it's realizing what your actual dreams are.
yeah. Do you think in like when it's sexy time with Linguini, if the girl pulls his hair, he goes like,
He starts chopping onions.
I saw that the other day. It's like during sexy time when Linguini gets his hair pulled, does he start making spaghetti?
That's what it was. That's what it was.
That's a good one.
Well, you know what? That was a good little discussion to wrap it up on.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for joining us on Roundabout Cast, episode 37. Until next time, goodbye.
Yeah.